Everybody, welcome back, and I'm Scott Lawrence from Lawrence Hypnotherapy, and coming back at you with another video again today called How to Cure a Resistant Client who thinks that they've already failed, they think it's all over, they're basically ready to call it quits. And how do you fix that? How do you get through to them? How do you get to the other side? And before we get started, I just want to take a minute just to thank you guys, because I know a lot of you guys, you've been watching these videos for a while, you've been supporting me, a lot of you have been buying programs, and I just want to say thank you, because it's just been an awesome year. A lot of things have changed in the industry, a lot of things have changed in our personal lives, in yours, in mine, and it's a very different world these days. And so I just want to say thank you, because I really love this community. A lot of you I've met, or I've studied with, or I've taught, or been taught by as well. And you're not stacking shelves. I mean, you're one of these people that you've got a mission, you've got a passion. There's nothing wrong with stacking shelves. There's nothing wrong with going after money through stocks and trades and things. They're all options. But if you've picked this as an industry, there's a reason that you've picked this as an industry. And usually because you've been through your own journey, and you love helping other people with their journey as well. And it's one of those things, it's sometimes a little bit underappreciated, and I just want to take a little bit of time that you're in the top 1% of people who are committed and interested in actually and executing on this, helping people. But sometimes the clients aren't always behave very well. Sometimes the clients come at you with an excuse, or they come at you angry, or they come at you with all sorts of energy. Almost all of them are fine, which is great. But what do you do with that client who kind of gives you a hard time? If you've heard of the Pareto principle, where there's that 80-20 rule, that 80% of your results comes from 20% of your effort, there's a negative twist to that too as well. Sometimes where 80% of your time gets sucked up with just 20% of people. What do you do? How do you help these people? When do you call it quits? Do you keep helping? Do you keep moving with them? What do you do? And so we've come up with this framework based on experience, based on best practice and values that I've found that have really helped people to sort of see the big picture, the long term, to go beyond best practices as in how do you get a result in the next 3 months, but beyond that, as in how do you sustain yourself as a business owner, someone who is in hypnotherapy or coaching, NLP, and you're committed to staying in this industry for a while. You want to be able to sustain your effort, you want to sustain your reputation, and you've got to be able to look at the big picture of what's the right thing to do long term? Let's get straight into this, because this is really cool, really interesting, and thank you so much for watching. So, how to cure a resistant client who thinks that they've already failed. There's some tricks. Let's get into the first little piece. Your client will try to scare you. So this is the very, very, very first thing that we should be talking about. Literally that. So with call the police, this is what if they're physically abusive? Protect yourself first. So this just had to be covered. This is not your regular customer, client. This is not your regular person. If somebody gets physical with you, call the police. Their program's over. They've become physically aggressive. They've become a threat to your safety. If they do that, bang, done. Look after your, run, leave the cash. It's kind of the only thing that can't be recovered is your safety in your life. So always look after your physical safety first. That's if they're physically abusive. If they're verbally abusive, end the treatment. So if they're abusive, if they're threatening you verbally and they haven't touched you, still, do not keep that person on as a client. There is no lack of money or humans on this planet. All of Earth's money is still on Earth. It hasn't flown to Jupiter or Mars or somewhere. There is more humans and more money on this planet than ever before. If your marketing is working well and you're sharing things and you're in alignment, you're getting referrals, you're big picture focused, you're giving a result to people, there is no reason to try to hold on to somebody who is abusive to you. And that's really, really important to know. But there's another category of people who try to scare you. And this is a little bit different. There are people who try to scare you by saying, I think that my problems are out of your league and I think that you can't help me. This person's not abusive to you. They're not trying to harm you. They're not trying to threaten you. They're just trying to scare you a little bit by saying, you know what, I've been through so much. I don't think you're up for the challenge for helping me. I've been harmed by people. I've been physically abused by people. I've been, the client might say to you, I've lost my money, I've lost my marriage, I've lost my house, I've lost my health, I've gotten these physical illnesses. And I don't think that you can help me because my problems are just a little bit bigger than your skills. So everyone does this. It's a very, very thin wall where they're testing you. This thin wall, if you get to the other side, that wall is their defense. If you can get them to lower that very, very thin wall, then you can help them. You help people through stories, frameworks, hypnosis, metaphors, treatment, through what you do. But to begin with, they gotta trust you. And if they don't trust you, you cannot help them. So they try to scare you. And so there needs to be this clear distinction between them scaring you, abusing and threatening you, get rid of them, look after yourself, versus the other type. They're trying to scare you by saying, I don't think you can help me, I think that I should leave. Don't let that scare you. Lower that little wall, show some courage, and move through and say, you know what, like, I don't care if this is my first client, I'm going to help you. As long as they're not abusive. That's the distinction. Abuse is the distinction. If they're abusing you, get rid of them. If they're not, hang in there and have some faith in yourself and your ability to figure things out. Number 2, life gets busy. Obviously, life gets busy. So when is the right time to change? And they're like, oh, not now. It's a bad time. I want to get off cigarettes. I want to get off heroin. I want to get off marijuana. I want to get something. But, can't I do it later? Like, can't I do it later? So the 6-month story, or the 6-month framework that we talk to people about is when you ask them, in 6 months, do you believe that you'll be less busy and you will have more time? It almost doesn't matter if they say yes or no. It's just kind of a setup. It's getting them to consider, alright, so in 6 months' time, you believe there'll be more money, time, freedom, less pressure, life will have backed off, everything will be better, the government's sorted out, the world's better, all these things. So that's forward 6 months. Backward 6 months. 6 months ago, were you busy? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, just, 6 months ago. Were you busy? Or did you have a whole bunch of free time? Like, is this moment in your life so unique that you're busy right now, that you've never experienced this before, like that you've never been busy before in your life, that it's just now? And they'll be like, no, I've been busy before. Okay, great, yeah, obviously, so you've been busy before. Does that mean that this whole thing of like, it's the wrong time for you? Maybe like it's just a bit of a story, because if you kind of look at 6 months ago, you were insanely busy. Like, you had some challenges, you were busting through them, you had to commit to them. In 6 months, whatever comes up, you're going to have to bust through that, you're going to commit to that. Right now, bust through this, commit through this. See yourself as the bigger person. See us, like talking to them. Say these words to them. See yourself as a person that you've succeeded, you've survived every single day of your life. You can survive this too, and there is no better time. There is no automatic habit mechanism in the brain that tells you to change your life. Outside of car crashes and those big shifts, those big perspective shifts that come from perhaps the death of a loved one or something like that, there is nothing in life that tells you to change a habit. Now is the time. Like, the diet starts Monday. I'll quit smoking after this next grand final because I want to smoke and drink at this one. Nothing's going to change in 6 months unless you change now. The 3 R's. This is basically, we'll say like what the 3 R's stand for. So it is basically future, present, and what's in the middle. So it's basically, you're talking to them about the result. That's the future. Result. What do you want? What are you here for? What's the result that you want to get? The next the second one is the reality. Where are you right now? Like, what is going on for you right now? What's the pain? Why does it suck so much? Why do you even want to change it? And get them to speak about this. The third R is the roadblock. Why haven't you changed this already? You could say to them. Why haven't you changed this already? What's in your way? What's the obstacle moving you from the reality, where you are now, to the result, where you would like to be? Talk to them about these things. Get them to get these out. This helps them with the realization that there's not going to be a better time to change their life. There's no amazing best-selling ebook out there called 3 Techniques How to Improve Your Money, Health, and Relationships by hanging back a bit and waiting to see if stuff changes. Because that's not the technique that successful people use. And the third one on this is why versus how. When people get too how-focused, when people get too left-brained, when people get too solution-focused, if somebody, a client's arguing with you, like, this is how, do my technique, they can argue with the very small, the very low level, very physical technique, the very specific. They can never ever argue with the why. Big picture. What do you want and why? Why do you want this change? When you get people thinking from a right brain point of view, so emotionally, get them to talk about, like, well, what is it? I had a client just recently to get off smoking, and they're saying, this guy, he can't quit. We're going to send you unlimited lifetime supply of new clients if you can get this guy off. People say that. It's interesting. People potentially overestimate their ability to refer people to you, but they also overestimate their own resistance to receiving the results. So like, he's like, his partner saying, if you can get this guy off, you're a genius, you're a god, you're all sorts of things. I'm like, yeah, that's every second person says that. It's common. People like to feel important. People like to be like, they try to scare you. I'm out of your league, you can't help me. This guy though, we got into the why. I got into my usual routine of doing my quit smoking hypnotherapy program, which I've seen, nearly 4,000 clients for. And what's really weird, like, he interrupts me, which is good in this particular case. Pulls out an envelope. I'm like, what's going to be in this envelope? He pulls out some photographs, and he shows me his grandchildren. And then he starts crying. And he says, I don't want to be dead when they get married. And I'm just sitting there going, wow, like, I've got to really give this guy the respect. Like, he's just shared this with me. Am I present enough? Am I respecting enough, like, the emotion that he has just shared with me? Or am I a little bit too blasé? I'm like, yeah, I'm an expert, I will help you. So that's a thing that we sometimes can be guilty of. Instead of stopping and getting into the why, getting too how focused. All right, this is how, step 1, 2, 3. We sometimes, as experts, we do that. You get somebody into a why, life is busy is not an excuse anymore. If you get somebody properly into a why frame instead of a how frame, life gets busy is not an excuse anymore. You want to cure addiction, you want to help somebody with their problem, get them into their why. Is their partner really against treatment, or have they just not had the full conversation yet? So this is where I like to talk to people about this, because sometimes people have very desperate and shallow conversations with their partner when they are feeling desperate, when they're feeling in pain, when they're feeling not supported, not listened to, and they go, hey partner, hey wife, husband, whatever the name is, I want to join this program, it's 20k. No, no, you're not doing. And that's it. That's the depth of the conversation. But do they know why? Why? Maybe you'll change your mind. Maybe they'll change their mind. Either way. So with the client, maybe their client will change their mind, or maybe their client's partner will change their mind. But have they and their partner come together and talked about, hey partner, husband, wife, dearest, babe, whatever you call them, I've found something that I'm interested in. I want to talk to you about it. Do you know that it's been my dream for a while to get rid of the cigarettes, or it's been my dream for a while to get rid of the alcohol, to get rid of this addiction, to build my, whatever it is they're trying to achieve. It's been my dream. And they're like, yeah, the partner's like, yeah, absolutely, honey, love, babe, whatever they call. So I got this offers come up, or I joined this thing, and I want to talk to you about it. And this is really important to me. This is probably one of my top 3 priorities in life, is to get clean. For you, for the kids. I want to be a better partner for you. Provider, carer, lover, parent, member of the community, upstanding member of whatever you call it. It's really important to me. I don't want to talk to you about it. Is it okay if we have a chat? Most people avoid that, or they don't even think that they're avoiding the conversation. They just haven't had it. And then, like, what's their plan? What's their partner's plan? So sometimes it's not just that your client hasn't explained their why to their partner. Sometimes your client hasn't listened to your partner's plan and their why as well. This is a two-way street. So, do you know what is the top 3 priorities for your client's partner right now? Then unpack or resent. Unpack is, let's lay it all on the table. What's important for me right now? What can we move around? Versus resent is they're pissed off at them. They're annoyed at each other. All they can do is be like, you're always like this. You're never doing the right thing. Versus unpack. Unpack is the solution. Alright, next one. When you say the wrong thing and you triggered your client, this happens. This has happened to me. It's probably happened to you. It's probably happened to anyone who's seen, I don't know, more than a handful or 10 clients or something. I get offended. I get offended by people who get offended. That's just funny. And I just love, like, the kids wearing a bow tie. Damn, what an angry kid. It's funny. So when you say the wrong thing and you triggered your client, it happens. And you didn't mean to trigger your client, but you want to cure them of addiction when you help them with their life. Well, 3-month safety. So when you say to someone, imagine your life getting better in 3 months, there's been this stat that shows that when you talk to people about something that happens before 3 months versus when you talk to somebody about something that could happen after 3 months, you will get a different emotional response. So let's say, like, because this is like where people have, you've seen 12-week plans, 13-week plans, 3-month plans, 90-day, 100-day plans. There's a reason that this number keeps coming up of roughly about 3 months. Imagine this. I'd say to you, your life could be so much better in 2 years. It kind of sounds like a compliment. Like, geez, thank you. Like, you've seen the potential in me. But if someone says, you know what, you could do so much better this week, like, whoa, hang on, buddy. My plate's full right now. I'm kind of busy. 1 week's a little bit soon. So 3 months tends to be the mark where people tend to feel, is it on their plate or not? So when you really want to make a change in somebody, the best thing to do first is get them to imagine what that change will be like after 3 months. People's survival instincts don't seem to care what happens after 3 months. That's why people smoke and take poisons and stuff and fill their bodies with all of the wrong things, because that's future person's problem. I don't have to deal with that. That's future Scott, future whoever. And it's funny, like, it's kind of like, say, like, a lion could come to your door today, you'd be like, alright, well, already I'm a little bit nervous, versus, like, well, in 11 years, a lion could come to your door. 11 years? That means I've got 10 years of no lion. I'll deal with it later. I'm a busy guy. Does that make sense? 3 months. Talk to them about what their life could be like after 3 months. Core versus function. So first I'll bring up the stereotypes, and then I'll crush them. So the stereotypes, mostly the way that we tend to see things is that women tend to have more of an association with their core, and men tend to have more of association with their function. This can be provider versus carer and all sorts of things, and there's exceptions, and there's like ways that this rule completely doesn't fit some people, but this is just the average. So here's a way I like to explain this. If you say to a woman, "You got really beautiful eyes," and it's just a genuine compliment, she might say, "Oh, thank you." And that's a core compliment. That's to do with either her personality or appearance. If you give her the same compliment based on function, and you say, "Oh, lady," whoever it is, "you've got the kind of eyes that really attract men." It's like, "Oh, hang on, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that I sleep around too much, or something weird about me, or something?" And you get how it's the same compliment, it's just her eyes. But one is the core, you've got beautiful eyes, just the eyes, and the other is what those eyes could do. They could attract lots of men. Now it's become weird and twisted. But let's kind of like go the other way. Let's kind of go, well, what about men? If you say to a man, "You've got the kind of eyes that can really attract a lot of women," he could say, "That's right, I can also bench press a whole bus." He's proud of what he can provide, what he can do, his function. But if you say to a man, "You've got really pretty eyes," he's like, alright, whatever, thank you. And obviously exceptions. So whether somebody is not straight or something, or they're gay, or whatever it is, there can be all kinds of breaks to this rule. But it's something to be aware of. Like, just think about like the person in front of you as your client. How do they react when you talk about their core versus their function? This will give you a big clue about how to help them with addiction. And then dissociate the insult. So never insult your client. If ever you're going to like insult bad behaviors, functions, or ever you're going to insult bad cause, people being the wrong thing, never make it your client. It's people out there. So if ever you're going to insult somebody, it's people out there who don't have a name. It's just people out there. Some people are like this, some people do this, and it's the wrong thing to do, it's the wrong way to be. Or they're not being their best selves, they're not doing their best selves. So always dissociate. Never associate an insult to your client, unless you want to lose the client. Then meanwhile, your client still doesn't understand you. So SHOW is an acronym that we use to make sure that you're just on the same page as them. Most of the time, if a client's feeling that they've failed, or they feel like giving up, or they feel that the therapy is not working, or they're feeling that you're not the right one for them, or they're just not really sure about the whole thing, a lot of the time it's because their expectations haven't been set, and they just don't really get it. They don't really know. How do they judge? Am I succeeding? Am I not succeeding? Where should I be? Where should I not be? Was I meant to fall asleep during the hypnosis or not? What am I supposed to expect? And this acronym, we use it as a method to explain basically anything: system, how it works, outcome, and why it's important. And so this is kind of a little bit like format, but in reverse. So if you don't format, it's why, what, how, what if. So we just basically go, system is name the process that you're going to do. And we can say, like, we're going to do the hypnosis process now. We're going to do the quit smoking hypnosis process now, or whatever you call it. How it works, what will happen, there's a wake, there's a sleep, in between is like this daydream state. I'll just get you to close your eyes. You don't even have to respond to this particular part. And it's very different from stage hypnosis, where somebody clicks and somebody else drops their head, then clucks like a chook, or barks like a dog, or something weird on stage, which is meant for entertainment, which is great, it's perfect. But in this particular session, we're not doing entertainment, we're doing a therapeutic outcome, which is to how it works. It's a 15-minute process of getting you into trance, doing a progressive muscle relaxation hypnosis, and then the outcome, almost everybody quits smoking by the end of the first session. And why it's important, you describe, like, why is it important that you close your eyes, that you relax, that you don't have your legs crossed perhaps because you might get those pins and needles. Why is it important that you even get off the cigarettes or heroin, ice, marijuana, caffeine, whatever was the problem that they were presenting with. And you remind them again, like, what was the big picture? What's the lifestyle advantage that they're going to have after this? Imagine that, your family, your friends, your life, your work, all being better because you're now a healthier, happier, more energetic person. So show it to them. System, how it works, outcome, why it's important. Please, again, drop me questions, drop me comments under this if you can. Whatever the post was, whatever method you had of like basically getting this training, whether it was on Facebook, YouTube, email, any of those platforms that we reach out to people with, or whether it was given to you like one of our big events, drop us a comment. Tell us how you're going with this training. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And I hope this is working for you. I hope this is, just shifting a perspective of that you can help more people, even the hard ones. Are you going to force me? And this is the thing that people feel like, are you going to just tell me what to do and force? And what if I don't agree with your plan? What are you going to do then? Are you kind of like, abusive as a therapist? Or, that's potentially how they might interpret somebody who's very attached to their method. But here's a way of getting over that issue with the client. Stay big picture. So it becomes our instinct to get into the nitty, to the gritty, into the steps. It becomes our instinct to kind of go, step one, this, step two, that. But I want you to kind of ease off that a little bit and talk a little bit more about the emotions, talk a little bit more about the advantage of this benefit before you even get into the steps, like step 1, 2, 3, whatever that is. But kind of, again, zoom out, remind your client, why are you here? What are you doing? What will it be like? How excited will you be? Or how much will this benefit your life to be clean, to basically, be able to have the energy to do what you want through the day, to be able to fall asleep at night when you want to fall asleep, to be able to connect with people around topics other than drugs or addiction, and to be able to distance yourself from people, give yourself some space, have your barriers and have your boundaries set up, again, without having to have addictions to do it, without having to get drunk, without having to walk away with a cigarette, without having to use things that are killing the body, just to get some space by communicating those boundaries. Imagine what that would be like. So that's, again, you stay big picture, and you don't always have to spend your time inside the steps. Because people argue with your steps, but they never argue with the outcome that they're here to receive. And when you get rapport, you've got movement. When you've got movement, then you can move back into the steps. Don't react. So like when somebody is acting, if you've got a client that's acting a little bit weird, when you get a client that acts a little bit like with they come on a little strange, that they tell you they don't think this is working, they're telling you all sorts of things, they're telling you that they think they don't understand what you're saying, then potentially, like, this could happen. You might get somebody who says they're not happy with your service. Don't react at first. Just relax, breathe, ask questions, and then use stories. Stories convince people, so that we might not know exactly what's going on in the other person's mind. We might not know why. What they think is a big deal might not be something that you think is a big deal. Something you think is a big deal may not be something that they think is a big deal. But always don't react when, let's say that in your life, in your personal life, maybe you're struggling with energy or money, or maybe you're struggling with something in general. This is where you're more likely to react to a client who goes like, I'm not going to pay you, I don't think this is very... So don't react. You can actually keep the client if you don't react, if you breathe, ask questions. Just get them to spill the beans a little bit more. Get them to tell you a little bit more about what's going on in their world. Listen to their stories, and then use stories back. Then emotion versus logic again. Get people to see, again, stay big picture. Get them to see the big picture versus always diving down into the steps, into the logic. People don't always agree with your steps because, let's say, here's like one way of looking at it. People have been told other steps. If you're always like sticking to your framework and you can't like listen to someone else's, you become a commodity. You will get exhausted. But when you kind of stay big picture and talk about the outcome, people will join you. People will come along with you because there's more ways that people can come and join you besides just one framework. When they're too important to listen to you, it's like, I have to be, interviewed or interrogated by a 5-star general, or I'm not talking to anyone. And if your shoes aren't shining enough, you're not the boss, you're not the CEO, I'm not talking to you. So sometimes a client will do this thing like where they look around the room, or like they'll sort of say, oh, you're too young, you're too old, you're too something, you're too this, you're too that. they will accuse you of not being a real expert. They will accuse you sometimes, and this is rare still, but it does happen, and you want to be prepared when it does. The time to have the map is before you go into the woods. You want to know this in advance. What do? If they just they're not really respecting you as a therapist. We have this system called System that stands for these 6 parts: socialize, yearn, system, trance, explore, mobilize. So this is the system that you want to make sure that people know what to expect up front. So the way the system thing works is that with socialize, just ask them a little bit about how they've been, and don't be on topic in the first minute. Do not be on topic in the first minute. Just socialize. Just kind of banter a little bit. Like, did you drive here? Was your trip long? How was the rain? How was the heat? How was your week? Have you had a busy week so far? I know it's only Tuesday. It's only Monday, perhaps, whatever it is. Banter a little bit. Get a little bit of rapport going. Yearn. Then get to those 3 R's, to that point of like, what's the result you want? What's the reality of where you're at? And where are the roadblocks in between the reality that you're at and where you want to be? So SYS for socialize, yearn, and then strategy, Strategy is then when you can take them through a framework, talk to them about what you're going to do throughout the program. T for trance. We've got ebooks on this, again, like how to create trance. Explore, take them through the therapy. Then M for mobilize. Wake them up, book them in again, end the session, take payment, whatever you're doing. But kind of use this system as a way of basically planning your hour or 90 minutes, whatever you're giving to people. I like to do an hour. So the SYS is the first half hour. I socialize, do the yearn and strategy. That's for about 30 minutes. And then the TEM is for the second half of the session. I take him into trance, explore, and mobilize, and that seems to take again about half an hour. And that's how you stay on track. When they're too important to listen to you, past experiences, listen to them first. Find out, well, what's going on in your world? Like, maybe like that you might be the first person in a very long time who's actually listened to them. And if you're the first person in a very long time who has listened to them, it's going to be an amazing, delicious experience for them. For someone to go like, oh, finally. So this is what happens. A yeah butter is someone who argues with everything that you say. If you come up against a yeah butter, yeah but this, yeah but that, I'm too important for this. So that person, they need to be listened to first. Maybe everybody else has been ignoring them, and maybe you're ready to get on with your framework, or get on with your hypnosis, or get on with your addiction training. But how are they? What have they been through? Have they been witnessed yet? Have they been listened to? If you listen to them, they're going to be much, much more likely to then want to follow you. They will then return the act by listening to you. The LISTEN acronym is one that I use. It is a question prompt system where we talk about, with LISTEN, it's life story, interests, success, timeline, ethics, and name. So life story, ask them about their life story. Ask them where they've been through, like what they've been through. Ask them about their past. Interests, ask them what they're into. Even if these things are slightly off topic, it's still listening to them. People are people first. Whether they're the CEO of the biggest company on the planet, they're still a human first. They all want to be listened to. The S for success, ask them what's worked for them in the past. I do this with almost every client. T for timeline, how do they see their future? What's their plan? E for ethics, people have different priorities when it comes to ethics. Like, we're all sort of pretty well on the don't kill. But some people will prioritize loyalty, and some will prioritize truth. And so that if somebody will prioritize kindness. If somebody has an ugly baby, you might not prioritize truth. You might lie, a little white lie, to protect their feelings, which kind of means that ethically, you actually prefer kindness over honesty. If you would not tell a mother with an ugly baby, then who would do that anyway? Like, nobody would do that. So, like, I would prioritize kindness over truth when it comes to that. But ask them about it. The word integrity is something that people use differently, that word. Some people use the word integrity to mean if you've made a promise, stick to it no matter what. Never abandon ship. The captain goes down with the ship. Make a promise, keep the promise. Other people, when they use the word integrity, what they mean is they're asking if this plan that they agreed to is still right for them now, or should they abandon it and start again with a new one. Like that plan got them to where they are, but now they need to leave it for a new one. People have different points of view on what words mean, and it's important to ask them, like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? The N for name is, well, what do they like to be addressed as? Not just pronouns, but like it's that some people have seniority. They like to be called doctor. They like to be called ma'am. They're like, none of that. Just call me dude. Just call me buddy. And it is important to people. They like to be addressed by the right thing. And utilize, like once you've picked up on their past experience and you've done the lesson, see if you can utilize that. Bring it back. Do callbacks. Remind them of what they've told you. Because not only then are you listening, but you're showing them that you recalled what they've listened to. What you've listened to. And then surprises are usually not good. So this is where you want to define expectations. Like tell them, like the system, like you tell them in advance, what is this program? To frame the freak out, as in that if there's something that you know that's going to be a challenge for them, let them know it's going to be a challenge. Like it's like, oh, the first 3 days there could be withdrawal symptoms. On day 4, there won't be. If you can get through day 3, you'll be fine. So frame the freak out, let them know in advance if there's challenges. Just don't lie about it. The 36 box plan is something that we've used where we've got 36 boxes, so a 6 by 6. So 6 boxes across, 6 boxes down, and we've got system across the top to say like what are the 6 parts of the session, and then down is basically what are the 6 sessions, what are we covering. I don't like to explain to the client the system because that's for me. I don't like to explain to them like what are we going to do in this one session. We're going to socialize and yearn. We don't do that, but we do explain in advance if it's a 6 session or an 8 session program. We explain in advance what each session is for, and then I use my 36 box plan to basically to see how I went or to explain it to them in advance. And then that's it, I'm out. So this is something that you might hear from people every now and then. Again, don't panic, because it's nothing but a story in your head until they've actually quit. They can come into your clinic. This has happened to me sometimes. They've come in on a second session, very rarely, but it's happened. They've committed to an hour, like they've committed to come for the hour, and in the first minute, they sit down in the chair and they're like, that's it, I'm out, I give up. You know, like, in my head, I'm thinking, really? You could have told me that over the phone, but you committed to an hour, so obviously you want to be listened to. So this is where you do not panic. The first thing that you want to do, besides don't panic, let go of your stomach when you breathe, because with all conflict resolution, you want to first start with your energy. Let go of your stomach when you breathe. It inflates with the in-breath, it deflates with the out-breath. Prove progress. And that's why you need the 36 box plan. Talk to them about, like, you've lost this many kilos, you've quit this many cigarettes, you've done this much progress. Remind them, you were struggling there, then you told me this thing was good. Remind them of the past. Normalize in size, as in, like, tell them, this is actually kind of normal in a lot of cases, that people who come to me to either get off cigarettes, people come to cure any addiction, if they have stress in their life like what you've told me that you've got, where you know you've got a partner that's going through something pretty hard right now, plus financial pressures, plus all of these, it's normal to basically want to get your emotional needs met, that you're using it to reward yourself for this amazing day while everybody else around you is being negative, and you're trying to celebrate a little bit, or that people are trying to invade your space at the end of the day once you've had enough and you just need a break. But they're still demanding your energy. They're still asking you questions at 9 or 10 at night. So normalize and size this. Tell them, like, this is a normal response to feel this way, but you're on track. And then celebrate with your clients. Celebrate the wins. Celebrate how far they've come. So I hope this has helped. In the next video, we're going to be talking about 10 addiction-causing mindsets that cause addiction to span generations. This is something that I've seen, like, where there are parents who pretty well pass their addiction onto their children. And this is something that's going to be really important. Again, thank you so much for being here for this video. If you want the next video, let us know. It's not out yet, it'll be out soon, but let us know so that you can be the first to see it. Again, I'm Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy. Until next time, keep expanding this industry. Again, if you've seen so many of my videos in the past, or if this is brand new, again, thank you so much for watching. It's not everybody that will spend the time, actually planning some time to train to explore these topics. Thank you again, you're amazing. I'll talk to you soon.